Hello and welcome to On the Other Hoof, our second video of 2015. We have a good card from Kempton that features the Lanzarote hurdle this week and Warwick that features the classic chase. So three of the last four winners are in. I'm stealing your point there. This year, this year, and I think we're all going to agree on one a bit later, but we'll get to that in time. I'm joined by Timeform's Callum Adele and Adam Webb's Adam Webb. That one caught us guard, didn't it?
Yeah, that didn't catch me off guard. I was waiting for something like and Liverpool's Adam Webb or something like that. But
Adam Webb's Adam Webb.
it's an interesting one.
Naps last week.
Winner.
Yeah, you didn't.
No, I was the only one that lost. I finished second.
Well, you had two goes. You had two bites at the cherry, and both of them lost.
Both of them didn't you? Yeah. No, the other one got well beat in the end.
Yeah, by Adam's nap as well.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd let him have that one. So.
You were Fletcher's flyer, weren't you?
He did it really well. I was really impressed, and I'm so happy that he's going to Haydock next month because I'll be there to see him in the flesh. So, yeah, very exciting.
My one wasn't as exciting, but it won. It's Fairy Wrath in a handicap at Sandown. As always, though, On the Other Hoof is not a family show whatsoever. And some of the language you may hear may be a bit despicable, but you can tweet in your fancies and selections, questions, anything you want to tweet to us. As long as it's really about horse racing, we'll try and answer it towards the end of the show. And we will answer every single question at the end of the show. Moving to the first race at Warwick, though, 155, the Betfred Mobile Hampton Novices Chase is somehow a listed race looking at it, at the 3 miles and 110 yards. Adam, you were optimistic that this was actually quite a good race, weren't you, earlier?
Well, I'm more enthusiastic than you two on it, but the reason is I like staying handicap chasers in time, and I think some of these will make into staying handicap chasers at a good level. I can't have Deputy Dan. He hasn't gone the right way over fences. I mean, he won at Plumpton, but then after that, he's sort of gone off the rails. Maybe over inadequate trips, but I just can't have him tomorrow. The one that I can have is Sago Success, who ran in a really good beginner's chase behind Sausalito Sunrise on debut, and then jumped much better at Weatherby when he won, beating If in Doubt. And he just strikes me as a typical Alan King staying chaser who'll be brought along nicely, and I could see him by the end of the year ending up as something like the Scottish National, because I think he'll be a proper stayer and potentially in time will be a very nice staying handicap chaser. Others to consider, obviously you two are going to talk about Mickey, and I think at the weight she's got a good chance. It's a Steel has been winning handicaps and did it really nicely at Ludlow last time, and this is a step up in trip and a step up in class, and whether he's up to it at this stage I'm not sure. I do respect Grand Vision and Moss Park, but I respect Grand Vision more. He goes back left-handed, having jumped to the left at Ascot last time out, and a step back up in trip will help him, and I don't really give Tyrone much of a chance. But Sago Success is your likely winner, and Mickey and Grand Vision I can see chasing him home.
Yeah, I think we're both going to agree on Mickey in time. Over hurdles, she was sort of the bottomless ground, slow, grind it out over 3 miles, and she just did that and just ran her rivals into the ground and going at one speed throughout the whole race. And at some level it can be quite a potent combination, especially when you get ground that she's going to encounter tomorrow. I don't really think the field are much cop against her. I don't think Deputy Dan's really much of a chaser. He hasn't done anything to suggest otherwise so far. Grand Vision, I completely get Adam's point on Grand Vision. I'm willing to give him another chance. Sago Success, I know you're very keen on Adam, but Mickey's been highly tried already over fences. On Chase debut, she ran behind Shut the Front Door and Vintage Star. Now, she got beat 20 lengths, but she ran a lot better than that suggests that time at Carlisle. She travelled very strongly, and the yard, well, whether it was the yard, she was strongly backed on that occasion. She went off something like 11 to 8, 5 to 4. And that's against the likes of Shut the Front Door, who won that race very well. Obviously, more seasoned chasers on her chasing debut. So I've expected improvement, but they made the odd choice of dropping her back in trip against Highland Retreat. Obviously, Highland Retreat was much more suited to that to that trip and ground that day as well. It wasn't absolutely bottomless. It was on the softer side, but obviously Highland Retreat won today, giving substance to that form. So I'd be willing to give Mickey another chance over 3 miles, especially on this ground, as she jumps, on the whole, pretty well. But third time out of a fence, I think she's just going to be a progressive type, and you were sort of agreeing with me on that.
Yeah, you said it up, said it already. I've got nothing more to add, to be honest. Just horse that likes soft ground over hurdles. I think she's got scope to become a chaser. I think she at least jumps well, doesn't she? And given 2 stiff tasks first and second time up, I think it's more her bag, and lots of unconvincing types in it. So yeah, I think she's a solid price.
She gets the mare's allowance all round as well, which obviously helped, but especially in this kind of ground. But everything looks to be sort of in the right place for Mickey tomorrow. Going down south now to Kempton for the 210, the WilliamHill.com Chase. There's a listed race as well, over 2.5 miles and 110 yards extra onto that. If this was good ground, this would be a nice little contest for a 3-horse race with Fox Appeal, Border Success, and Huntball in there. But with the softer ground, Adam, I assume we can rule out Huntball, and it puts a bit of a doubt over Border Success as well.
Border Success, it depends how the ground actually is. If you can go through it, I think you'll be absolutely fine on it. If it's a sticky ground that you encountered at Sandown, then I'd be worried about him. I think it's a strange race. Huntball you can rule out, I think, anyway. He looked right back to his best on New Year's Day. I thought he ran a really good race. But he's come. I think they've been forced to come here at the fact there was only 7 entries at the 4-day stage because they reopened the race, and it's a bit of prize money. So I don't blame them for coming here, and potentially it could drop his mark for the Topham Trophy, which I've got eyes on in the spring. It's a no-bet race. I think if Border Success is on his day and the ground is okay for him, he should win. Fox Appeal. If I was to have a bet in the race, it would be him, just because of the prices. Yeah, I'm not having a bet in the race, but if I had to have a bet in the race, it'd be him at the prices. Course and distance winner, and has gone with Border Success over this trip as well, where he chased him home in the Pendle last year. So I think Border Success should be winning, but if I did have a bet in the race, it'd be the outsider of 3.
Yeah, it's hard to sort of assess the race, really. You don't really know what the ground's going to be. Well, we know it's going to be soft, but we don't know how it's actually going to ride, whether it will just be sticky, horrible ground. If it is, then Border Success, you'd have to say, may struggle in it, but he's a class horse in the race, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he deserves a bit of a confidence booster as well, and it's really hard. It's hard to see past him. This is the sort of trip he wants, definitely. Softer ground, I've not really got much of an issue with. I mean, he's won numerous times on heavy ground at a high level, so it doesn't worry me at all. It does worry me for Huntball, who is his obvious, got the obvious chance as his main danger on form, given getting £5, but the ground is just an obvious concern for me. I mean, I've never had him going on soft ground, and I still don't have him going.
Faster is better, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
I think he actually won on. I think it was genuine firm ground.
Yeah, Taunton, wasn't it? Yeah. Fox Appeal, I think he'll run his race, but if Border's on form, then he should be too good.
Yeah, hopefully anyway. I'm not surprised to see Adam tip up. Well, a slight fancy, we'll say then.
I wouldn't even say slight fancy. I just said if I'd have a bet in the race, it'd be him because he's the outsider of 3, and there's potential value in his price. I think Boulder should win. It's no bet. If there were more runners, maybe, but
fair enough. Back up to Warwick now for the 225. It's a Thames Network Handicap Hurdle, which is a qualifier for the final at Cheltenham in March, over 3 miles and 2 furlongs. A field of 11 going to post here. It's not exactly the strongest kind of race, Adam, is it?
It's not really, and I'm going to sound really boring, but Closing Ceremony, I think, is the one to beat here. He's posted 2 excellent efforts at Haydock, going from the front, and he was given a great ride last time out by Richard McClernand, and the time before by Darryl Jacob. I just think he's the one to beat here, and there's more improvement to come. Ones to chase him home, I think Handazan, he was back on song last time out, and Tom Bellamy got a really good tune out of him, and I can see him filling out a place. But the other one that interested me slightly was Big Hands Harry, who gave away so much ground when he won at Ascot over fences. I just couldn't believe the amount of ground he gave away, and he still won. And then he was disappointing at Chepstow. I think a return hurdling over this trip, he looks interesting, and potentially could be still ahead of his mark over hurdles. But I think Closing Ceremony should be winning this.
Does that not scream with Big Hands Harry that they're just getting qualified?
Possibly.
Yeah,
But
but
you've only
his
got
mark
it's
still needs to go up, I think, to get into the potential
True.
as well.
It's true.
it's first 6, isn't it, to qualify?
First 8.
First 8, is it? Okay,
Yeah.
so you'd be disappointed if he wasn't qualifying on that. But yeah, that's a fair point made about closing ceremony. I don't think it's the best of races, which is why I think I can be justified in tipping up a horse who's been pulled up the last twice and Manila online. It's not a strong fancy whatsoever, but he's just slow. He's a kind of horse that's like Mickey. It's got one pace and will grind it out. Cheek Beast's first time is the bit of interest in the horse. Whether that perks him up a little bit and actually finds or helps him find another gear and just concentrate a bit. A mark of 1 to 8 could still be below him. 10 to 1's a nice enough price. And if you go before he's pulled up twice, he's actually in decent form with the figures 3rd, 1st, 2nd, and 4th. So he's clearly in good heart this season. Just things haven't really gone right the last twice. But it's not really a race that I'd be too willing to get heavily stuck into. Top would obviously have a chance if returning to old form, but again, that's a bit of an ask with him off top weight. But it's a no bet race for me completely. Any sort of fancy in the race?
Yeah, I really like the favourite, to be honest. I think 4 to 1's actually a cracking pricing because the race he won at Haydock last time out was stronger than this for me, beating Harold, Millicent Silver in there. There was horses with potential, and in this race there just isn't. I think that a lot of them are exposed handicaps. A few of them coming off wins. Handazan won very easily at Bangor over 3. His first try at the trip, so he might find more over this trip, but that wasn't anywhere near enough of a stamina test to prove that he stayed this far, and he's got an extra 2 furlongs anyway. Phoenix returns, horses like that. Big Hands Harry and Manila Online yours going from over fences. Phoenix returns just an exposed handicapper that's, is improving slightly, but a massive rise at the weight. £10 rise for that win at Carlisle makes life a lot tougher. Whereas closing ceremony, he's only gone up 6 for a win that I feel he should have gone up more for. Extra 2 furlongs could bring out even more, and he's just got natural improvement in him. So I think 4 to 1 on the horse is really fair because he's a total standout here for me.
Yeah, it's not hard to stand in a race like this, though, is it?
No.
It doesn't inspire.
Well, you got horses well like Away with the Greys, who is a horse that's been quite highly touted at times, but it's constantly disappointed. I know he won last time, but it just stays forever. And is he up for winning a sort of race like this? How many are up for winning for a sort of like race like this? I could count on one hand how many I think there are, and closing ceremony is by far and away the most convincing for me.
Yeah, the price reflecting that being favourite in closing ceremony. Back to Kempton, and I've just realised that I didn't actually tell you how you can get in touch with us here on the other Hoop at the start of the video. So you can tweet in your questions and fancies and any bit of joke or banter, mainly towards Adam usually.
No,
You can tweet us at on the other hoof. If you're watching the show after it's live, you can also leave a comment in the YouTube section below. We'll try and address that comment next week if it is a question or just, again, a dig at Adam. But at on the other hoop is our Twitter handle, and we'll read out every question, fancy, and whatever else you want to send us about horse racing at the end of the show. The 248 Kempton is up next, the William Hill Lanzarote Hurdle. A listed handicap, one of the feature races of the day, over 2 miles and 5 furlongs. Won last year by Safir de Reux, who went on to better things, as they said. But it's hard to see a horse of the scope of Safir de Reux in this field, Adam.
I'd agree with that, although I had a silly thought earlier about Kilcooley and the fact that he's gone up a similar amount to what Safir de Reux did. And I tried to question in my mind, would Kilcooley have won his race with the same mark that he's gone off today last time out? But the answer's no, because he wouldn't have been able to run. I think Kilcooley does deserve respect. I'm not going to put him up. I think he deserves respect even though he's gone up the amount he has. The selection is Hammersley Lake, who I thought could have been given a better ride last time out, I'll say that, at Newbury, where he was second to Silsol. This is the type of race that I had in mind for him after that second, and I think he comes into this with a big chance. Hello George is price-wise, and it's plain obvious to see his chances. He looks to have wanted this type of trip for a while now, and Philip Hobbs is very sweet on his chances. T for 2 I really do respect as well. Just question his jumping at the moment, and Luke's point I won't mention, but I'd agree with what Luke's going to say on Tifa 2 as well. Apart from that, Shota Vodka's a big price. I know he's coming back hurdling, but he could represent a bit of each way value if this is a target they've had in mind for him. But yeah, Hammersley Lake's my idea of the winner.
I think Shot of Vodka really has to refine his old form, doesn't he? He's not
He
been.
does, but he could be interesting.
Jockey bucking, isn't it?
He's running.
No feeling.
Not feeling.
Mm.
Well, in fairness, Pipe's run out of his jockeys in this race, hasn't he? With Del Arca and Heath Hunter. But yeah, interesting jockey looking that actually. Not a bad one either. T for 2, the point I was going to make about him is that I think it might just come a bit soon for him. I saw him at Kempton, I think it was 2 runs ago, and it just took. He may have been outpaced, but it just took him a while to get sort of the hang of what he should be doing. But he stayed on really effectively towards the end of the day. I get your point, Adam, about him having to jump better. But just a few slight reservations about T for 2 tomorrow, especially at that short of a price. But obviously, he could still be well handicapped. One horse that is potentially still well handicapped is Del Arca. And it's not really a horse I've ever warmed to before, but I'm quietly confident on Del Arca tomorrow. Just for the fact that the last time was such an eye catcher when running in a long walk. Obviously, that's a grade 1 over 3 miles in a furlong. That, for me, was always going to stretch his stamina, but he travelled really well against much better horses, with Rev de Sivola, Zarkanda, probably even Orbison would fall into that category, Medinus, but travelled almost the best for a long way and just completely fell in the hole turning for home and blatantly didn't stay for me. He was nursed home by Tom Scudamore from that point onwards, and it was just a clever bit of riding just to make sure you don't absolutely bottom him. But you look back through his form of last season, and he was 3rd to Lac Fontana in the Grade 1 at Aintree. Obviously, that's a novice hurdle. That wind is getting up.
Yeah, it's ridiculous,
I'm just saying, this house is going.
Yeah.
That'll be an interesting end to the show.
Yeah. On the other not house. He came 5th in the Coral Cup behind Whistle, which was a decent enough run and showed that he stays his kind of trip. I think if they ride him a bit more prominently tomorrow, then that will hold him in every chance of sort of putting his stamina to good use over this kind of trip. Ground is absolutely no worry at all. He was 2nd in the Betfair hurdle to Splash of Ginge on heavy ground. So there aren't too many chinks in Del Arca's armour tomorrow. He went chasing, and I don't think he's a chaser. He doesn't really have the size to jump fence. It was just a bit too much of an effort for him. However, saying that, he still pushed Coneybury. He's now a Grade 1 winner to a length and a half at Newbury, which wasn't the worst performance looking back at it now. But if he runs to what he did last time, really back in a handicap, then he should go well. The other pipe horse, one of the other pipe horses, Heath Hunter. If he finds any improvement with Blinker's first time, Kieran Edgar takes off a valuable £5, then he could go well. It's not a vintage Lanzarote at all. Looking at it, I just think Del Arca's wildly overpriced at 10 to 1. I think Del Arca's well worth an each way bet for sure. Up a mark of 145, which still could be below him. You're not a Del Arca fan, are you?
I'm never a fan of horses that have gone chasing, come back hurdling. I know he's already had a run over hurdles, but I think they need a bit of time just to get back into the rhythm of going under a different
I get that.
in a different sphere. So I think he'll go well. I mean, he goes well on the ground. He's obviously got some of the best hurdles form in the field. Is he that well handicapped of 145? I wouldn't
say he's well handicapped,
but in this sort of race, maybe. Yeah, I know exactly where you're coming from. There's I have quite a few negatives about. I mean, Hello George is crying out for the trip, but I'm not convinced by him. I don't like horses that lose their place and then plug on. That kind of puts me off him. T for 2, I agree. I don't think he's ready. What were you going to say about that?
Sorry, it's just about Hello George. I just think that there's a few people saying he stayed on to really good effect last time.
But he lost his place.
He lost his place, but then he wasn't really staying on. I'd be willing to say he was plugging on, but to say he was staying on is really, I don't know. I don't think
he was really keen though. Philip Hobbs is very keen on him.
Very strong pace. Go on.
What are you saying?
Philip Hobbs is really keen on him tomorrow. I know that. When he was interviewed, I think it was at the races. He made an excited noise.
Yeah.
Bar that, where we've got Warrenter, I think deserves a lot of respect. I mean, both the horses that he beat at Chepstow and Market Racing have gone and won since, so the form's got some sort of substance to it. Hammersley Lake, I think he wants better ground.
Yeah,
I know he's got good form on soft in France, but with quite a few of these French horses, I do think they improve for better ground because they haven't faced it before. I think Kilcooley could run really well. I think he'll go out in front and it'd be really tough to catch. And with Charlie Deutsch taking off 5, and I'm quite biased, and I would love to see this horse win, but there's quite a few really not convincing me, and
yeah,
I think he'll place. I just think something might just pop up. The one I'm thinking will pop up is Heath Hunter, who, as a pipe horse with Edgar taking off 5, has had a wind operation over the summer. Likely would have needed his first run back, and with the blinkers on, he could be the fly in the ointment in the race. I will have a bet on Kilcooley, but I couldn't advise him as a bet, mainly because I think that's a really harsh rise for what he's shown.
Should have backed him earlier in the week when I said.
Yeah. I'll go on. I have to put something up. So Kilcooley and Heath Hunter for me.
Yeah, I think Heath Hunter's a big dangerous. Kind of kicking myself when I had the Lanzarote down to 2 pipe horses. So, but I think both of them have got a good chance. I think Kilcooley is a big ask off that kind of ride. I think it's a very harsh ride as well. But saying that, he did absolutely demolish the field. But yeah, it would be nice to see him run a good race. But we're going back up to work now for 3 o'clock. In Neptune Investment Management Novices Hurdle, registered as the Leamington Novices Hurdle, a grade 2 over 2 miles and 5 furlongs. This was won a couple of years ago by Cotton Mill, wasn't it? Yeah, Cotton Mill beat Andy and Wood.
Guessing Cotton Mill.
I know I backed Cotton Mill as well. But
it's also been won by the new one, obviously. Remember when he bolted up in this?
Yep.
It's been won by some nice horse, actually.
Yeah.
Caught in Motion was a horse I thought the world of at that point. Laval 2. Not bad. It's not a bad race for future horses. Obviously, Deputy Dan's let that down so far. I'm not going to say he could still be much better, but there's been some nice horses won it in the past. It doesn't look the strongest of renewals, though, Adam. Obviously, Shantou Bob is the deserving favourite, probably, for Warren Great Trex and Gavin Sheehan, but the price is probably more on that he hasn't got much to beat.
Yeah, I'd agree with that completely. His form is by far and away the best in this race by a clear mile. And advice I will give, I don't fancy him personally, but if you fancy him for the Albert Bartlett, I'd get on now because he will shorten if he wins tomorrow. His form is by far and away the best. He's beaten Padge and Fletcher's Flyer already, and Padge, you can question what he's done since because he came out to Cheltenham and was given a interesting ride. I'll say that. I think the EBF final's something for him. Fletcher's Flyer's obviously come out and won twice into Ascot and Wincanton. His run last time out was in I thought, a really good race. He had Tara Point back in third, who came out and won a no race, we'll say, at Taunton, but she's a very exciting mare. And Vita de Rock, who is a really consistent horse for Nicky Henderson, and he came out in the second of the Challow behind Parlour Game. So the form lines that he's got around him are really standing up, and I think he is the one to beat tomorrow. One to chase him home. I'm a big fan of Flinton, and his full brother Carruthers won this. And I can see him going from the front and making this a real stamina test. And it'll set the race up for Shantou Bob, but I could easily see him plugging on into second or third. It's a lovely family as well. I mean, you've got Coney Gree and Carruthers in it as well, from the same dam. So I'd like to see him run well, and I think he will. The other one that I'd like to give a mention to is Anteros, who was second to Black Lion last time out. I'm not sure about the dropping trip for him, but I could see him running well. I think Shantou Bob wins this. It's no bet, but he wins.
Yeah. I think Shantou Bob's definitely the most likely winner. Tomorrow as a watching brief, I'd be wanting to see how he goes on this especially soft ground. But saying that, 2 outings ago he won at Lingfield on their soft ground, and when it gets soft at Lingfield, it gets absolutely biblical. So I'll be watching him with a close eye tomorrow. Probably wouldn't have a bet in the race, but Flintham is a horse that I like as well. I was there at Ascot when he won the last day. That was over 3 miles, and he came off the bridle quite early, which is my only worry. And then stamina kicked in and prevailed. You mentioned that he was from the family, the likes of Carruthers and Coney Green in there. So obviously he's very, very stamina laden. Nico de Boinville, you imagine, would set a decent pace out in front and set the gauntlet down for the rest. Whether he's good enough to stay out there in this kind of race, because it is another pretty big step up in trip. It wasn't the strongest of race that Ascot last time out. That's another question. But 11 to 1, I'd be willing to find out as more of an each way price. This went to Broadline to Anteros as well. He's been a novice forever now. He was a novice last year as well because Sandy was all over him all the time. But he ran a really good race behind Black Lion last time and surprised me. I think 33 to 1, and that was over 3 miles, and that's by far his best run. And they've dropped him back down to 2.5 miles now. I just don't think that the softer ground is in his favour. I don't think that brings out the best in him whatsoever. So he's another one to keep an eye on tomorrow. 14 to 1. He again could be another each way.
You've got to keep an eye on because he's not got his right conditions tomorrow. He basically said.
For the future.
Yeah.
You know. In the future, probably more inclined towards handicaps as well. I think 130 could still be a bit on the lenient side for him. So he's one sort of to put in the tracker if he runs well tomorrow. But I'll give a chance to Flintham each way. But I can't see myself having a bet in the race. You're a fan of Shanty Bob, aren't you? I think.
I'm not like
a
massive fan, but he's got the best form by some distance in this race. I mean, if he produces that second to Vita de Rock at Sandown last time out, then it's how far. It really is. Yeah. He should be comfortable odds on here because the rest of them just haven't shown any sort of promising standard. I mean, I can't really find a horse that's yet to really rate himself over something like 125 official ratings, whereas Shanty Bob's well over a stone better than that. I mean, something might improve. Three Musketeers won, I thought, quite nicely at Weatherby, and he did catch my eye, but he beat nothing. I mean, that Red Danaher at second has come out and disappointed, I think, twice now. Alicia Delon's really expensive purchase, and I'm sure will make a nice horse in time, but on the basis of his Ascot run, he's got a lot to find. The rest do as well. So I'm going to be boring. Go for the favourite again, but he's got to win. You don't think? He's got to win.
No, I agree with you. It's a bit like the new one a couple of years ago, and I remember when he won this race. It was sort of an obvious. It stands out. He's
11 to 8. He should be evens.
Wasn't Mickey in the race that new one actually?
Yeah, but I still thought the new one had too many gears for her. That's the thing, though, and he did. He had too many gears for her, so.
She doesn't have a gear. She just has one consistent gear. But it wasn't a strong race that year. I remember it being, but it's not the strongest of events this time around whatsoever. You still got one horse that could be pretty good. Yeah, Mickey was second.
Such a bad race. Hold court in third. Oh.
So, Dursey Sound at 7 to 2 for a grade 2. Wow. Okay. With heavy hearts.
I remember that,
like put our whole bank account on the new one at 1 to 2.
Because at the time my bank account was about a tenner.
Yeah, true.
I want a fiver. 3:15 at Kempton's up next to William Hill. Bet on the move handicap chase over 3 miles. Damn Twitter notifications. It's a competitive race, I'll give it. It's again not one of the strongest of races, Adam. I could be doing it a bit of a disservice saying that, though. It is competitive for sure.
It's competitive, yeah, but there are some horses in here that have got question marks, and it's a strange race. I mean, Chartres at the top, he loves going right-handed, but my question is he going to be ready for this? He won at Sandown and Punchestown at the end of last season. If he's ready, I think he's got a big chance, and Tom George's horses have been going really well. The adverts just come on Racing Post to make me jump again. The selection actually is our Killy Witness. I didn't think he ran that well last time out, but I watched it back and he actually jumped really well that day. And I just think with the headgear off and Dr. Richard Newland, I can't be bothered saying his name now that we've given him because
whoa. Show that man the respect that he deserves.
Oh, His Royal Highness Sir Dr. Richard Newland, KBE. There we go. I think he's on a handicap mark, and he is better going right-handed as well. And if he's not going close here, I'd be really disappointed, and it'd be one to give up on. Apart from that, Midnight Appeal, he should have won a big race by now this season, but his jumping just still lets him down. He comes there to win the race, and his jumping just, But yeah, Killy Witness. It's not a race I'm getting involved in. So yeah.
There's one day, just one day, Dr. Richard Newland's going to watch this watch this show, and we're going to refer to him as His Royal Highness Queen Dr. Richard Newland, KD, and he'll get restraining orders out against all of us.
No.
Mainly
Not
Callum.
And then he'll meet me and you see my Pinot de Rey match.
I realise how devoted you are to that yard. I am going to take a lot of stick from the chap sitting next to me here when I tip up via Sundown. We have had a person tweeting in. No, on camera, you're not going to give me stick. Off camera. Via Sundown, he won a novice hurdle at the start of the season. Quite nicely. Well, it's a small novice hurdle. It's just to get him prepped for a bigger race. I didn't quite think the bigger race would be the Hennessy, but I thought he'd still run some kind of race in it, and he just disappointed in a really big way. And just tailed himself out of the back of the TV and just was a no-show completely. So that was forgotten about. He got lowered £3 of handicap for that and given another chance at Ascot when cheap pieced first time. He ran a much better race that day, but made a few sort of niggly mistakes. And at the time, they went at a decent enough pace. It was the race that the young master won. And against him, you can't be making them kind of mistakes and getting away with it. He travelled well enough up until turning for home, much like Del Arco I mentioned earlier, and then just fell behind and was looked after once more by Josh Moore. But he's been lowered £4 for that. So he's been given a real chance of 133, which I think is £1 lower than his last chase-winning mark, albeit that wasn't actually a handicap. But he's getting down to sort of winning marks. This race looks decidedly easier than last time. There's no horse with the quality of the young master in here. So 10 to 1, I think, is still around before price-wise got it, annoyingly. But I think he could go well tomorrow if the cheap pieces still have the desired effect. I'd like them to be a bit more forceful on him because he seems to jump better when Josh Moore was really asking him to attack his fences, and he was absolutely faultless at them. But when getting a bit fiddly into them, he sort of sacrificed half a length to a length. And it's just, you can't be doing that in staying chases like this, especially on this kind of ground, which coincidentally he'll absolutely love. Al Alpha's another one I'd give a small chance to. He came out of a race at Ascot a few runs ago, which the form just stacked up brilliantly. It was the one that I took Fairy Wrath from last week. Obviously, Fairy Wrath has won. It was the race overall was won by Nice One Frankie. Went on to win the Caspian Caviar Gold Cup at Cheltenham. So that form's okay. He won next time out, beating Buck Mulligan. More will be needed, but 8 to 1, I can see him going okay at an each way price. For the rest, I'm not sure about the rest, to be honest. Mark Lane, I prefer to see back over hurdles. 28 to 1, I can't see him getting too competitive. I always thought he needed faster ground as well. So no for Mark Lane. I just think 5 Sundown's a cracking each way bet tomorrow. You, I'm sure, are going to disagree with that, though.
Yeah. I'm surprised you went for it, to be honest. Killy Witness for me for His Royal Highness Dr. Richard Newland because
I love him.
I do. Says the guy who tips the Gary Moore horse again. He's a horse that's been about for a while. Killy Witness had plenty of chances, but dropping onto a decent mark, he's got good form in soft, heavy ground, and he's run behind Grandad's horse, which is form Frank since Ascot in November. I think was decent. I don't think he liked running in the visor last time out. Tongue tie onto tomorrow. I think I can give him a chance. By that open-hearted for Nicky Henderson. I brought this up the other day, but Henderson's record with chasers in the past 6 months is really poor. So it's a watching brief for them. But I do get the feeling that his yard is starting to turn the corner a little bit. Henderson after a bit of a quiet spell.
Yeah.
He's had the odd winner or two.
4 winners today.
Yeah. So I could be very wrong there. Masters Hill wants another 6 or 7 miles. Midnight Appeal should be thereabouts. Chartres is the one I'm most interested about, not for the race, but he seemed to really thrive last season. After he fell at here, actually, didn't he? And looking like the likely winner, and then won twice since. So he's one that I really want to keep my eye on throughout the season. he clearly will need the run, because if he didn't, then he'd be up there at the head of the market. But if there's any money for him, then I'd definitely go for him. But instead, I'll go for Kelly.
Was it you, Adam, that was with me at Kempton when the crazy lady came up and started talking to us about Masters Hill?
Yeah. She was like, yeah, back to me, just walked off with it.
She had backed him because she always backs grey horses, which is just a foolproof system in itself.
Yeah.
And she was telling us how she had lost all hope with the horse because it was falling out the back of the TV screen. And then suddenly at 16-1, it started making ground, and she got her place money, which she was really happy about.
In the Leamington, I think I got place money on that. I was like, yeah, I did. I got place money as well, yeah. In the Leamington, yeah, because he was second to Deputy Dan. Yeah.
It was, yeah. I'd never met the woman before, never seen her again, never spoke to her again, never spoke to her before. So, lovely lady, just a bit on the nuts side. But
yeah. She might be watching this show, Luke. Be careful.
Yeah, she's your biggest fan. No. We are going on to the final race that we're going to be covering today, the 3:35 at Warwick, the Betfred Classic Chase, a Grade 3 handicap over 3 miles and 5 furlongs, which is going to be stamina sapping enough as it is, but on soft, heavy in places ground, they're going to be really struggling here. However, once in a blue moon, the stars align, and we all strongly fancy the same horse in the same race.
Say strongly, but yeah, do like him.
I'm trying to boost confidence.
Yeah, I'm trying to lessen it.
we all fancy a horse at a price. Anacotti, any others? We've had that treble that included Western Rock, actually.
Yeah.
But I've given it away on who the horse was. But we are all keen in different stages on West End Rocker, who won this race 4 years ago and comes back as a 13-year-old.
4 years ago.
Adam, take us away.
Oh, West End Rocker. I mean, last time I wanted to keep the confidence levels down, and my word, he jumped so well for Tom Bellamy, who I'm so pleased that he keeps the ride and claims 5 again. He won this race 4 years ago. He has to go left-handed. This is the type of track that suits him really well. I know he's 13, but I think he's got a huge chance tomorrow. But it's an interesting race, and it's not just him. There's quite a few in this that I think will want to get their marks up for the Grand National. One of them being Ballyoliver. I remember Venetia Williams mentioning after his Carlisle win that Aintree was a thought that they'd had. So if he is to go to Aintree, he has to go up about £6 or £7, I say, in the handicap. He's one that's interesting, but I wouldn't touch him tomorrow. Return Spring, I think, is the rightly favourite, and he is going to improve the step-up in trip. But I had him in mind for something in the spring, like the Midlands National, the Scottish National. You could even go for National Hunt Chase. He's one of them that will get 4 miles, and a horse I think I will be definitely keeping on side, but I'd leave him tomorrow. Shotgun Paddy, oh my word. In the Welsh National, the mistake he made, I'm amazed he stood up, because he walked through that open ditch, and he didn't have a hard race there, because they pulled him up at the top of the home straight. Carruthers, I'd love to see him win. This bloody advert keeps coming on in my ear now. What on earth is going on with Racing Post website? It's like every time it's ka-ching, it's really annoying. Sort it out, Racing Post. Carruthers, I would love to see win this race. I mean, he came so close to winning it a year ago, but he slipped down the handicap. And I thought he showed enough enthusiasm over the cross-country course to suggest last time out that he's still in love with the game. Because there have been times where I've questioned whether Carruthers is in or out of love with the game, and I think he's okay at the minute. One I'm going to give a mention to, because his chase mark is about £15 lower than his hurdle mark, is Peckham Echo. He really interests me at the fact that he's never been over a trip before, and he's got a mark of 132, and I just think that he could be very interesting in a race like this tomorrow, and if the stamina test really suits him, he could go really well. But I'm going to say I think Western Rocker is my idea of the winner anyway. And I will put Peckham Echo up as an each way price, but Western Rocker is your winner.
Yeah, right. Now I know that you're not the person to do random things for pointless stuff, and I'm looking at your screen now, and you're looking at results from Kempton on Boxing Day or not Boxing Day, it was the rearranged fixture, so 15th of January in 2011. Is there any reason you're looking at Ski Sunday, or?
Yeah, because that was the day that
was it?
Western
Okay,
Rocker
right.
last won the Classic Chase. And I was just looking at the funny horses that were novices. Like Sybarite was a novice.
I was there that day.
Nadia de la Vega and Kita de la Roque were both novice chasers, and they both won. And Long Run and Binocular won the feature races at Kempton. So that's how long ago it was.
I was at Kempton that day, and there was this vile man that was cheering on Sybarite, and then he was just shouting abuse at the horse that won it, called Shadley, like screaming at him for him to fall at the last, and just fall so Sybarite could win. I turned around, I was going to try and tell him off, but then he was built like an absolute house. So we'll let him get away with that one then, but that's a warning for him. Back to this year's Classic Chase as opposed to the 2011 renewal. Same result will be appreciated with West End Rock. Obviously, we all fancied him last time out as part of the On the Other Hoof treble. 14 to 1 I think is a fair enough price. He's got a lot to prove. This would be his highest ever mark, although Tom Bellamy takes 5 off, which makes life much easier. I just think Warwick's his kind of track, as Adam mentioned. Tom Bellamy was talking on IUK earlier at Huntingdon. He just said that he's looking forward to getting him down the side of the course and just letting him really attack his fences. So Warwick is that kind of course that the fences come up thick and fast. If you make a mistake at one, then you're a goner, and you're facing a real uphill task to get back into the race. And West End Rocker rarely makes a mistake. His jumping was absolutely superb last time. He didn't put a foot wrong in that department at Lingfield, albeit he only had to beat 3 rivals, and that was quickly diminished down to 2 when Tullamore Dew pulled up. But still, Summary Justice and Fruto Rooney for a veteran's chase, they're no slouches whatsoever. Then again, this is...
They are slouches.
They're not slouches. They're good enough.
They're good horses in their own
That's exactly what they are.
No. This... yeah. What's I saying? I don't know. Just got sidetracked like a donkey. Yeah, this is the kind of track that West End Rocker really will come into his own around. Stop laughing. Stop. Of the rest, I understand why Price West has gone for Hawke's Point, but the blinkers first time really have to have a big effect because he's dismal in the Welsh National. On his old form, though, he'd have a really good chance. Looking at the others, it's not. Mark Lane's here as well. It's not a race I've been.
It's second preference, so it's going to go from 16 down to 15. So if you're backing each way, you're only going to get 3 places.
Sophie Leach. Good jockey, that second preference. closely related to Nicolas Paton.
Oh, good guy. Good guy.
Good guy. Deserves more rise at Nicolas.
You get him though.
It's good to see second preference get a spin out here though. Mark Lane should give him no kind of spin whatsoever. Carruthers, it would be nice to see him run well, but 8 to 1 I think is a very slim price. Nico de Boinville gets on very well with him since Matty Batchelor isn't riding him anymore, but 8 to 1 is a very, very slim price about him. The West End Rocker 14s, I'd be willing to have an each way shout on that, although annoying that he is now only going to be aiming for the first 3 instead of the first 4. Ground's fine, trip's fine. I think everything's sort of in his favour except for him being a 13-year-old, but he showed no glimpses of that catching up to him last time out. So with Tom Bellamy taking a 5, I'll give West End Rocker a chance. Have you convinced yourself not to go for West End Rocker yet?
Yeah, okay.
I'm having lots of hiccups. A lot of hiccups.
There's a lot that don't convince me.
Yeah.
Return Spring, I think, is short enough, but he could be the absolute rick of the race. And Shotgun Paddy obviously won this as a novice. He just strikes a similar time. I mean, I think Gosby Judge finished second as a novice. Am I right, Adam?
You're right. Yeah.
Go me. Return Spring promises to stay all day on this sort of trip, and that's some form on heavy ground. So I think he's got to go very close, and like potentially just could be too good for these. Shotgun Paddy I couldn't have. Carruthers, see first 2 last year. I think they're short enough. Global Power doesn't convince me. Neither does Hawke's Point. Rigodan de Beauchesne, what do you expect? 60 something. If his jumping holds up, then he could be. He could be really interesting because he stays all day, and his performance last time at Doncaster, the race did fall apart somewhat, but he bolted up. I mean, by 50 lengths, and he's only gone up a few pounds for it. And this horse has got a lot of talent, but he's always prone to jumping out. He has been over hurdles. It's the same over fences. So, but I could see him winning. But West End Rocker ticks way more boxes than a lot of these. 14 to 1 is really fair on the horse. I mean, I don't know what he won this off.
He won this off
2011. I think it was a little bit lower.
Yeah, it was £6 lower.
Yeah.
I think it was 142. Actually.
6 lower, but you've got Tom Bellamy on, who I think we all agree is a very, very good £5 claimer. Last time jumps like a stag at Lingfield. Was never really in doubt. He's only gone up £4 for it. Loves heavy ground, jumps for fun. He's got to be thereabouts, and 14 to 1 each way has to be a cracking bet. But I think Return Spring could be too good. But
yeah.
West End Rocker has to be a bet at 14.
I was going to say, when you're on about ticking boxes, he ticks way more boxes than a 13-year-old in this race should.
Yeah.
But no, he's still going. Fair play to the old boy. But I'm going to put a question to you now. And do you want to? I know it's not on Channel 4. But do you want to preview the 3 to 45 or wait until the laps?
Just to
That's okay, right?
Don't know anything about the rest. So.
Fair. You don't need to know that much, in fairness. We'll go on to questions then before getting to our nap time. It makes us sound brilliant. Really. Yeah, we're going to go for nap time now. First question, Chris Heath, Global Power in a 335. That's the classic chase. At Warwick, surely to be a big price at 12. So I don't think it's actually 12 anymore. I just thought 8, yeah. So it's a bit of money for him.
Also, I've rated for a while Global Power. Has he got it in him?
I think he's the perfect kind of horse
He
for this
missed
race.
the Welsh National. They wanted to go to the Welsh National with him, but they didn't get in. So this is Plan B. Not a bad Plan B, obviously, but
yeah. I think the Welsh National might suit him more.
Yeah, that's what I agree with that. But it's got its chance, hasn't it? It's again, I keep using this today, but it's not a vintage renewal of the Classic Chase whatsoever. So off a lower weight, he'd have a chance for sure. Lee Armstrong, Ardkilly Witness as a winner and waiting to happen. Jumped for fun last time and stopped as if shot. He's definitely worth a follow. It was you that was talking about Ardkilly Witness, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think Adam put him up as well.
yeah, we both did.
The confident, yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, and then he also goes on to say, Dark Glacier is a loon pot, which I'm going to start using that now.
Loon pot.
Went wide and lost a lot. Went wide and lost a lot of Welsh National. I hate it when that happens. Always the worst. Cruising 5 out, and again, he also stopped like he was shot. We'll give him a go. Brian West, I think this is to me. Looking forward to a potential clash between your mare and the mare I have a share in Valley Hollow over 3 miles in the future.
Ooh.
You're on Brian West.
Oh, by the way, congratulations on your first ever winner.
Yeah, Jacob and Manus over here.
I actually won a novice hurdle instead of waiting for a handicap. So. Did I back her? No.
Callum won some novice hurdles as well, so.
Yeah, one too.
Yeah.
So yeah,
How many
you're
races
going
you
to
won?
win another one now. Oh, shut up. I've won plenty on starters orders, so that's enough for me.
Yeah, isn't it? Finished 6th in the Coral Cup last night.
Oh.
Phil Dinsdale, rare for him. What's that family plan? Oh God, I know what's something I can't later. Phil Dinsdale, surprisingly, he used to have a few tips for us. Only one bet tomorrow. Kyle Moore lock in 12:35 at Weatherby. # 4 days racing. I wouldn't disagree with you on that one. Good luck with.
That's all right for jumps. It's quite good tomorrow.
It's not as bad as last week. Last week was
Oh, it was crap.
Last week was cracking. Loved it last week. Jeff Handley, DD, Deputy Dan, had a tough race last time. Sago successes it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is improving and will take some beating with It's a Steal well worth a place in the lineup. I wouldn't disagree too much with that in fairness. I'd just add Mickey into it really. And he's gone Alan Swinbank is bang form with 8 from 19. A rare runner here with Phoenix Returns who runs here instead of the local track. What race is Phoenix Returns in?
In the qualifier.
Yeah.
Attempts, okay. That's fair enough. Matthew Wynn back again this week with Profile Star. Yes, that little thing. Yes,
Didn't win last week as a non-runner, so
yeah, he just simply goes. Don't forget about Profile bolting up at Lingfield tomorrow. Thanks.
What race?
It's at Lingfield.
2:35 I'm going to go for. No, 2:05.
That's a good race.
2:05. 2:05. 2:05. It's a 2:05.
It'll be a 5-6 furlong handicap, not to 55.
It is not a bad race. That is far too good for Profile Star. 1:30. So no, it's not them first.
Well, it's going to run.
Profile Star has once again stopped on the other hoof for 2 weeks running.
Matt,
There it is.
what are you doing?
7s. The money hasn't come yet. A watching brief and we'll monitor the market.
Steve Drown gave that a belting ride last time out.
He either gave it a brilliant ride or he gave it one of the worst rides you've ever seen.
Oh no, it's just belting. Belting can mean bad as well.
Jeff Hanley, visit to the restaurant at Warwick Races for my birthday. Back return spring to be exposed type and global power each way. So I assume, Jeff, it's your birthday tomorrow. In which case, happy birthday. And we hope you have a good day at Warwick tomorrow. And good luck with return spring. Huh?
I said likewise to both what you said. Happy birthday.
I thought you were trying to force something out through the drink.
No.
Matt Wynn's going to back Duvan each way. Good luck with that one.
Read the hashtags out. Read the hashtags out. That made me laugh.
Oh, hashtag boom, hashtag next best.
I whack.
Hashtag profit. Pound sign, pound sign, pound sign. Harriet Fuller has gone for Via Sundown. Agree with you on that.
Of course she has.
Greedy.
I wonder why.
Gonna win. Clement Deck has tweeted in, good evening lads.
Hey up Clement.
Yeah, up alright lad. Alright lad.
He's not going to understand you.
I don't care. Who wins Cocktails for Dawn, whatever he's called, or Cold March? So Cocktails at Dawn, isn't it? The Henderson at. I thought he was going to make into a really nice novice chaser, and he just hasn't at all. He just doesn't jump well whatsoever. So
Fell last time at a cap trick.
Yeah, he's short tomorrow.
If he can't win tomorrow, then there's
13-3.
really not much future in for him. Because tomorrow just looks like a deal for me.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Isn't he still a novice over hurdles?
Yeah.
Yeah, he can go back hurdling.
He won last season.
He won in April.
Is he still a novice? Oh, was it until the end of October he's still a novice?
What's his form like on soft ground? I know he's run on it before, but is that a worry? The ground must be a worry.
Yeah, I think it is.
16.
He's only faced it once, but he's solely been on good ground since then.
It's just such a weak race.
I'd rather back Cold March.
Like I wouldn't have been surprised if Cocktails at Dawn could have been at the start of the season, could have been one of the horses that turns up for a Cheltenham novice chase and been sort of alive outside or gone there with a chance at least. But I don't know. It's just he definitely is a watching brief tomorrow. And for tomorrow, if you did want to have a bet in the race, Cold March would probably be the one. I assume Ostland, you wouldn't fancy him too much.
I'm just looking at him. I mean, he had quite a bad injury, so I think he's just slowly coming to hand. But
he ran well enough last time out.
He ran okay. He did run okay. He'll be better this time as well. So
yeah, there's sort of 12-1. You could do worse than him.
If back to best, then I think he's got a huge chance. But that's a massive bit.
Yeah, and he's also Clement had a bit onto that. It's a still surprising no mention about him.
I mentioned him. I just think that the step up in grade and the step up, it's a question mark, and I'm not sure yet he'd be ready for this type of step up in class. I think go more handicaps with him because he looked really. I mean, Ludlow was really impressive, and he's still looked well ahead of a handicapper. So I'm surprised they didn't keep down that route with him.
Phil Dinsdale said it's a max bet on the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday. Yeah, idiot. Bottle jobs. Playing at Lambeau at Green Bay. Absolutely not, my friend. No way. give up on that bet. That is all the questions we have got. Rachel Nella retweeted us. We've made it to the big time.
We have.
Thanks, Rach. That, unless any of you have tweeted my personal account, which just you know it's just not what we do out here on the Other Hoop anymore. We're accepted. We've got our own account.
This is your last chance, or he's gone.
That's it. No more questions. First Avenue. That's it.
Ernie, yeah. Oh.
Yeah, that's it. First Avenue.
Nice one.
Snap time.
Oh, it's your favourite time of the day. Oh.
My favourite time of the day, it really is, actually. Adam, your nap.
Well, I changed my mind, actually. I told you what I was going to nap. I've changed it to Shantu Bob because he should be odds on.
Fair enough. Right, Shantu Bob for you. We are napping together tomorrow.
Oh.
Yeah, but it's the On the Other Hoop Prime service, so
Yeah.
unfortunately this tip cannot be revealed unless you pay. we accept PayPal.
PayPal.
Yeah, but we'll give this one out for free.
Okay, as
a tester.
Yeah, next week you're paying for it.
Yeah.
Because me and Callum are napping together. John, you can go.
Seriously, why do you say things like that?
I said it once accidentally. I'm doing it deliberately now.
Yeah. In the 3:45 at Kenton, there's a horse called War Singer.
As you roll
who stunned me when he ran on the flat at Goodwood, ran over 10, and then they dropped him down to a mile, and I thought, why the hell are they doing that? And he bolted up. Since then, run really well over hurdles twice. Firstly at Wetherby, he's actually disqualified in the end, the rider. Weighed in light, well done, Mr. Schofield. And his third last time behind Snake Eyes, I think it was a really good race in Morilato. Disappointed the other day, didn't he?
Yeah, he just didn't have the ground.
But I think that's really strong form, and the key to him is a flat track. So he gets it here tomorrow, and I'm quite unconvinced about the rest. I mean, Sleepy Haven was behind him that day, and I think he's off better terms even now. First Mohican does not convince me one iota.
Good work.
Iota?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think we've had that on before.
The rest don't convince me.
No.
Dubai Island, Will Bowler, I will. No.
Oh, right, okay. So
I like Sleepy Haven in that race. I know it's favourite, but it's a horse that I've liked since the juvenile days.
And you have liked him for a while.
And won nicely at Haydock last time out. I was really pleased to see that.
But one of them, on worse terms, War Singer's 8 and Sleepy Haven's
Yeah, I know.
130.
Yeah.
That is just a ridiculous difference in price. I think War Singer's he's a really good bet tomorrow. 8
really
is massive.
Although Sleepy Haven didn't need the run, I thought, at Sandown before he went to Haydock. It's an interesting race anyway. I think they're the first two anyway.
Well, yeah.
Stick him in the forecast.
We'll see. Walsing, I think it's one of the safest each way bets tomorrow, at least if you don't want to back it win. I think we're both convinced it will win, but it's probably one of the safest each way bets tomorrow that you'll find. So at 8-1, both.
And to be fair, I must say that if this bet comes in, some credit needs to go to Dan Bryan on Twitter, who did point me towards this horse the other day. So he hasn't won yet, but
Dan,
it will.
Dan.
So yeah, you should follow him.
Does Dan watch this show?
No.
No. Screw you, Dan. Get away with it. Do what I want. Thanks, Dan. That is pretty much it for On the Other Hoof this week. No more questions. We'll be back next Friday at whatever time. It depends if an NSPCC guy turns up on our door again and tries to convince us to give money.
Actually happened, didn't it?
Actually did happen. Nice guy as well, until I told him that I wasn't interested, and then he couldn't have run away faster. But thank you very much for watching it this week, guys. We'll be back next week around 8 o'clock, probably just after it. Steve Mullington, probably 8:15 for you, sir, since you like to know in advance. But we will see you next week on the Other Hoof. But until then, have a good weekend and a good week. Goodbye.